I'll never forget the night it all began. The cold air stung my cheeks as I stood on the side of the road, clutching my daughter's tiny hand. My old car had finally given up on us. It just sat there on the shoulder, hood steaming like a giant kettle. I could almost hear the universe laughing at me. I was already late. Late to the diner where I worked the night shift, late on rent, late on everything that seemed to matter. And now, I had a 5-year-old staring up at me with eyes that trusted me completely, eyes that had no idea how close I was to breaking. Cars sped past us, headlights flashing, drivers pretending not to see. I don't blame them. A woman with a kid on a dark roadside doesn't exactly scream safe to stop. But with each car that passed, I felt my chest tighten. Finally, a sleek black SUV slowed down and pulled over. For a second, I considered refusing. I mean, how many stories had I heard about strangers and bad endings? But then the window rolled down, and a man's voice called out, "Do you need a ride?" I hesitated. He looked polished, clean-shaven, with a calm confidence about him. But I still kept my guard up. "My car broke down," I said cautiously. "I just need to get to work." His eyes shifted to my daughter, who was shivering in her pink jacket. Without another word, he stepped out, opened the back door, and said, "Let me help. It's too cold for her to be out here." Something about the way he said it, gentle, but firm, convinced me. I buckled my daughter in, slid into the front seat, and whispered a silent prayer that I wasn't making a mistake. The warmth of the SUV wrapped around us, and for the first time that night, I could breathe. He glanced at me, then back at the road. "So," he said with a half smile, "where are we heading?" "The Silver Moon Diner," I muttered. Embarrassment washed over me. It wasn't glamorous. It was greasy floors, endless coffee, and tips that barely covered groceries. He didn't flinch. He just nodded and drove. On the way, we talked. Or rather, he asked questions, and I answered carefully. He learned I was a single mom, that I worked double shifts, that my dreams of college had been boxed away years ago. He asked about my daughter, her favorite color, what she wanted to be when she grew up. And then he surprised me. "Do you ever think about starting something of your own?" he asked. I laughed bitterly. "With what money? I can barely keep the lights on." He didn't push. He just said, almost to himself, "Sometimes the right people just need the right chance." I thought it was a strange thing for a stranger to say. When he dropped us off, I reached into my bag, fumbling for a few dollars. He stopped me with a wave of his hand. "Take care of her," he said softly. "That's enough payment." And then he drove off. Weeks passed. Life was the same grind: work, bills, exhaustion. But something about that night lingered in my mind. His kindness, his curiosity. It was as if he saw me not as a waitress scraping by, but as more. Then, one evening, my manager handed me an envelope. "Some guy left this for you," she said with a raised brow. Inside was a handwritten note: "I believe in people who fight for their families. Meet me tomorrow at 10 a.m., 54th and Main. Bring your dreams." My hands trembled. It felt like a scam, too good to be true. But something in me whispered go. The next morning, I found myself standing in front of a towering glass building, clutching the note. My daughter was in school, and my heart was racing. I almost turned back. But then I saw him stepping out of that same SUV, dressed in a tailored suit. My jaw dropped. He wasn't just some helpful stranger. He was someone powerful. Someone important. "Glad you came," he said with a warm smile. "Let's go inside." I followed him through the marble lobby, past receptionists who greeted him with respect. That's when it hit me, this man wasn't just successful. He was the man. The CEO of a company whose name was on the building. I could barely process it. "Why me?" I whispered, finally finding my voice. "Why would you?" He stopped, turned to me, and said words I'll never forget, "Because I was raised by a single mom. Someone who worked herself to the bone, just like you. And all I ever wished was that someone had helped her when she needed it most." In his office, he asked me about my dreams. Not my struggles, not my failures, my dreams. Tentatively, I told him about how I used to sketch designs for a small bakery, how I imagined a cozy shop where families could come, how I wanted to build something that belonged to me. He listened like it mattered. Like I mattered. Then he leaned forward and said, "Let me invest in you. Not as charity, but as belief. I'll help you start that bakery. All I ask is that one day, you pass it forward." Tears burned my eyes. This was insane. Unreal. And yet, it was real. Months later, I stood inside a little bakery with soft lights, warm bread, and my daughter helping me stack cookies. The sign above the door read Hope's Corner. And every time I unlocked those doors, I thought about the night my car broke down. One ride. One act of kindness. One stranger who turned out to be a millionaire CEO and who saw a tired single mom as more than her struggles. Looking back, I realize something important. Sometimes, the people we least expect to cross paths with are the ones who change everything. Not because they give us money or power, but because they remind us we're worthy of more than survival, we're worthy of dreams. So if you ever see someone struggling, remember this: your kindness might just be the spark that lights their entire future. And if you're the one struggling, don't lose hope. The right chance, the right moment, the right person could be waiting just around the corner.